Written with children in mind is pretty on the nose, and while a lot of it is definitely funny, sometimes the adults in the room get a little bored. Parents almost never get the luxury of watching a movie just once, especially if it's their kid's favorite. So, working with their audience in mind, writers and animators will occasionally embed tiny pieces of mature content into their work.
These are my kind of people.
When done correctly, the jokes catch the attention of the right people, but fly under the radar of any youngsters who might be watching too. Here are Screen Rant's 10 dirty adult jokes hidden in popular kids' movies. The Emperor's New Groove. Wordplay is a great way to launch a joke right over a kid's head.
Yeah.
And combining that with an innocent-looking scene can take it to another level. In The Emperor's New Groove, the lovable Kronk spends a night in the great outdoors. And while kids may be laughing at the size of his accommodations, everyone else is giggling about what it really means to pitch a tent. Sometimes the best place for a joke to hide is in plain sight.
How is this?
Yeah, that's good.
Toy Story 3. There are certain situations where, if they're not careful, even adults are likely to miss a dirty quip here and there. The Toy Story franchise is full of funny characters, and some of them are fast talkers. So there's actually an abundance of sly nods to the parents in the crowd, but some of them are disguised as throwaway lines. For example, one scene in Toy Story 3 shows the evil bear Lotso remove Mrs. Potato Head's mouth from her face, and in his protest, her husband shouts some choice words at the burly villain.
Hey, no one takes my wife's mouth, except me.
It happens so quickly that even some grown-ups might miss it, but it's very obvious in retrospect. Shrek. A few years ago, you'd be hard-pressed to find a parent who hadn't seen all the Shrek movies at least a dozen times over. The big green ogre muscled his way into living rooms across the globe. Multiple sequels followed, which led to a holiday special and even a spin-off for the character Puss in Boots. Mercifully, the team behind the scenes included a few doses of adult humor in the kid-friendly franchise, and parents were thankful. First, the bad guy's name is clearly an allusion to the word fuckwad.
What?
Plus, when Shrek and Donkey arrive at Farquaad's castle, they joke that maybe the royal uses his home to distract from his small family jewels. Aladdin 3. Aladdin and the King of Thieves. Aladdin scored huge points for Disney when it was released in 1992, and even though they were released straight to video, the two sequels, Return of Jafar and The King of Thieves, were also well received. Spoiler alert, it takes Aladdin and Jasmine almost 3 whole movies before they get married, and when they finally get the chance in the 3rd installment, the castle comes under attack. Thankfully for the characters, Genie is on hand to help, and thankfully for the parents, that means the quick-witted genius Robin Williams.
I thought the Earth wasn't supposed to move until the honeymoon.
Amidst all the chaos, the comedian spits out a lightning-fast sex joke that maintains its innocence so flawlessly, a lot of parents missed it too. Madagascar. Things change when you become a parent. Sleepless nights, hunger, and the sudden responsibility of watching your mouth in front of an impressionable young brain. But at the end of the day, we're all subject to our instincts, and sometimes we just have to swear. Thankfully, there's a way to be sneaky about it, and in the 2005 movie Madagascar, Marty the Zebra shows us how. After he and a few buddies escape from the zoo, they find themselves on the island of Madagascar. After too long without a meal, his friend Alex the lion gets so crazed with hunger that he can't control the instinct to hunt a striped friend. When Marty realizes what's about to happen, he yells, "Sugar honey iced tea."
Oh, sugar honey iced tea.
And you don't need a degree in cryptology to solve that anagram.
A bullseye.
Hercules. Greek mythology is full of characters, and much like Game of Thrones, it can be hard to keep all of them and their storylines straight. Even then, there's a lot of variation when it comes to the stories themselves, so it's expected that everyone who takes on the subject matter will put their own spin on it. In 1997, Disney released their take on the story of Hercules, and it has something for everyone, including people who like their comedy lowbrow. Dirty minds should watch for a fight with the centaur. After the beast gets walloped by Hercules, his head swells into the shape of a... well, just watch it and see.
Oh no, we're not figurative! This is the last stage!
Inside Out. Inside Out follows the story of a young girl named Riley whose family moves across the country and leaves everything she knows behind. Told through the lens of psychology, the storytellers turn emotions into characters and use the girl's mind as a landscape to show how the change is affecting her personality. Led by joy, other emotions, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust also play a big part in the film. Shortly after Riley sees their new house in San Francisco, fear wonders aloud about the city's bear situation.
It's a bear.
There are no bears in San Francisco.
I saw a really hairy guy. He looked like a bear.
And anger's response made more than a few people chuckle. Bear is a slang word used in the LGBT community that describes a particular body type, big and hairy. And given how central the city has been in the gay rights movement, the line was definitely a shout out. Frozen. Since its 2013 release, Frozen has become one of Disney's juggernauts. The Tale of Two Sisters is the highest grossing animated film in history. The story is good, and the soundtrack is catchy, even though we've all heard it too many times. Thankfully, the writers reserved some of the laughs for the grown-ups, and one scene sticks out above the rest. When Kristoff is quizzing Anna about her love life, he asks about her suitor's shoe size.
Foot size?
Foot size doesn't matter.
She might have shrugged the question off, but we're willing to bet that most of the adults in the room got a kick out of that one. Cars. If you're in the public eye and good at your job, chances are you've made some fans. And that's doubly true for racer Lightning McQueen. He lights up the track and is unstoppable wherever he goes. People thought it would be tough to make something like a car express emotions, but some cunning animation proved all the naysayers wrong. There's one subtle gesture that only adults will pick up though. During an event, two sports car groupies turn on their high beams and the press goes wild like girls on spring break. Cars isn't the first movie to compare a woman's chest to headlights, but it might be the most subtle one.
But a bunny can call another bunny cute, but when other animals do it, it's a little...
Zootopia. Since its release in March of this year, Zootopia has grossed over $1 billion worldwide. Judy Hopps is a rabbit who's always dreamed of becoming a police officer. Her city, Zootopia, is home to all different animal species, but there's never been a rabbit cop. After making her way through training, Judy faces many obstacles. Audiences have spoken out about how the movie is a mirror for issues society is facing today. One character describes another as articulate, a callback to the word being used as a racist backhanded compliment.
Well, that is high praise. It's rare that I find someone so non-patronizing.
And feminist scholars point to a scene where everyone can reach their chair except Judy, arguing the sequence is a metaphor for female struggles in the workplace. So what do you think of our list? Know of any other dirty jokes hidden in kids' movies? Tell us about them in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel